This is Australian football, Aussie Rules as many would call it, a fast-paced, full-contact team sport. It's certainly not for the faint of heart. You undoubtedly have to be a tough guy or gal to play it. I used to play it in high school until I broke my hand. That was the end of my fledgling career. The point is, it's a tough game. Due to its demanding physical nature, the frequent and often brutal collisions, and the incredible athletic endurance required from players, occasionally players get angry with one another and blurt out something inappropriate. Sometimes it's on purpose, that is, sledging or trash talk, to use the North American term, intended as insults or taunts directed at an opponent to break their concentration or get under their skin. When I was a kid, there was a common saying, "What's said on the field stays on the field." That is, verbal taunts or heated exchanges during the game are to be left there. They definitely shouldn't be carried off the field into personal grudges, post-game arguments, or public commentary. But in recent years, Australian sportspeople can now get into real trouble for saying certain words on the field. It doesn't matter if it was said during the intensity of a game. Take, for instance, 27-year-old West Coast Eagles player Jack Graham, who was suspended for 4 matches for saying a single word on the field. Thanks to a viewer for sending this in. The word was so shocking, it was so despicable that it was worthy of him being banned for 4 matches, therefore losing some income in the process. What could he possibly have said to warrant such a harsh penalty? I'll get to that soon. The Australian Football League, the AFL, is the preeminent professional competition and the overarching governing body of the sport. As with most governing bodies, they're a real stickler for the rules, and you can bet your bottom dollar that you'll be suspended if you break them. There's a whole bunch of rules, spanning hundreds of pages. Apart from a vast array of definitions, including how they define an Indigenous person, presumably to support specific pathways or cultural programs, though its inclusion in a set of rules might surprise some. Surely everyone playing sport is equal, no matter what their cultural background when it comes to behaviour on the field. They have rules such as Rule 35, Peak Rule, discrimination and racial and religious vilification. In this case, peek does not mean a quick or furtive look. It's named after Tony Peake, a late, long-serving AFL executive and former journalist, due to his significant contributions to addressing and combating vilification in the sport. The rule states, "No person subject to the AFL rules and regulations shall act towards or speak to any other person in a manner or engage in any other conduct which threatens, disparages, vilifies or insults another person on any basis, including but not limited to a person's race, religion, colour, descent or national or ethnic origin, disability, sexual orientation or gender identity." Keeping that rule in mind, so what did Jack Graham say to warrant a 4-match ban? The AFL themselves reported, "Eagle banned for using homophobic slur." In the article, they don't say exactly what he said, but they did report, West Coast player Jack Graham has been suspended by the AFL for 4 matches for using a homophobic slur against an opponent. It said the incident was self-reported by Graham to his club. So it sounds like nobody reported him. He reported himself. This perhaps indicates that players are fearful of their progressive masters. The AFL said in the statement, Graham used a highly offensive homophobic slur against a GWS Giants opponent, which demeans and denigrates persons regardless of their sexuality. It said it took into account Graham's self-reporting of the incident, along with his private apology and contrition. Graham also rang the AFL CEO directly to apologise. Graham himself said, "I'm very remorseful for the word I used, and no such language has no place in our community or our game. I've offered my unreserved apology to the Giants player and Greater Western Sydney and would also like to publicly apologise for my comment. What I said does not reflect my values or our club values. I made a mistake and need to be better and will prove that through my actions going forward." They also noted that Graham's sanction would have been higher if he hadn't self-reported and understood his comment was totally inappropriate. But it wasn't just a 4-match suspension. They also noted Graham will not be eligible to play for West Coast for the next 4 weeks, and he will undertake Pride in Sport education. Yes, he will have to submit himself for re-education. For context, just last month, June 2025, Essendon player Sam Durham hit another player in the head, with Fox News reporting, "Wheelchair written all over it. Bomber offered hefty ban for hit that's as dangerous as it gets." Essentially, Durham was involved in a dangerous bump with Carlton player Adam Sarah, making contact with Sarah's head while both players were contesting a loose ball. Sarah was stunned and had to leave the game for a lengthy period to undergo a head injury assessment. He eventually passed and finished the game, but with swelling around his eye. What was the punishment for hitting someone in the head, intentionally or otherwise, which has been labelled as dangerous as it gets? According to the West Australian, Sam Durham, Essendon midfielder, hit with 2-match ban for collision with Adam Sarah. Yes, causing actual bodily injury, 2 weeks suspension. Uttering a 2-syllable word in the heat of the moment that may or may not have caused someone to become upset, or even heard for that matter, so much so that you had to turn yourself in, call the CEO, and publicly apologise for a 4-week suspension and Pride in Sport re-education. Look, I'm not encouraging anyone to go around calling people names, but is this response proportionate?